Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys have had a wonderful weekend. It's going to be super chilly here tomorrow. I'm really happy and excited to be back home after traveling to the west last week, over across to Perth for a couple of nights, and then back to Adelaide and back home. And now I have to say, after that whirlwind, we did recharge over the weekend and we're ready, set and go for the week. So really excited to be with you here this morning. And like always, sometimes I come up with my topic in the last few minutes, and I thought, you know, this is something that has come up as a common theme across my 8.5 years in business now, and also having met, and obviously I constantly work with small business owners. So I thought, you know, why not share a summary of the 5 biggest mistakes that I believe hold small business owners back from growing and being super successful beyond their wildest dreams in business. And maybe it will help some people to recognize themselves in this particular, in some of these things that can be strategies that we think are keeping us safe, but they could be imploding our business in its early years and early stages. So, if you're already successful and, you have progressed and pushed through some of these, you will recognize them. And maybe you used to play them out in the early days, and then you learnt differently and decided to do different things. So just before I begin at 9 o'clock on the dot, I'm just going to share this live in a couple of the groups that I actually do over on my computer down here on the left, and then we can get going and go into the different strategies. And if you're here from wherever, hey Kitty, you're my regular on Monday live with Nat, I have to say. If there's one person that's been pretty much on 90%, if not all of the lives, has to be Kitty. So it's great to have you on the call. And give me a hi and a thumbs up. And if you like, share this with people. Let me give this share. I'm wearing a nice bright yellow top here. So share to a page. Hey neighbor, are you just around the corner from me right now? Are you at home? Share to a group. Okay, hang on. I'm trying to do too many things all at once. Okay, here we go. Copy and paste. All right, guys, so we're going to get started in a moment. Welcome to lots of you. I love Monday Morning Live, not so much for the fact that we get to catch up, but it also gets me into business mode as well, because we've just been chilling out with the family and doing lots of just relaxing things, and now it's back on board and doing the businessy stuff, which is what creates that balance in our life. Thanks, Kitty. This stop is surely going to get people to stop and check out the live, right? All right, cool. Yes, you are in Diamond Creek. So Benita lives just around the corner from me, which is in a very Christmassy street. When it's Christmas time, your street is the best around the area. All right, guys, so let's go through these. And if there is some additional things that you have noticed around business and mistakes that people make, hey, post them up. And hey, Christian, nice to see you as well. And also, if there is any comments or questions that you have around what I'm saying, then of course, let's share those, because to add the most value to this call, it's not just about me talking at you, but also you interacting and getting the grasping the learning along this. So when I started out in business 8.5 years ago, I didn't know anything about business. Pretty much I came from 12 years in retail management. And after those 12 years, I had zero network, because I only knew people in the optical industry, and I did not know how to grow a business, what to do, how to behave, where to go. So I was kind of really desperate, and I invested quite a lot in courses, mentors, taking a lot of action myself, and learning from books, from webinars. It was just a whirlwind, those first, especially 2 or 3 years. And as I progressed and obviously broke through different stages of the business and monetizing it and getting my ROI after all of these had programs and mentors that I was working with, I started realizing and I started attracting a lot of small business owners coming for advice from me. I didn't actually put it out there, or my intention was never to become, say, per se, a business coach. But as people saw me do well in the health and wellness industry, they sort of wanted advice from me. Well, how did you do this? How did you get your weight loss coaching practice fully booked? And what are the? And then all of a sudden, I'm going, I think I'm business coaching. And I started obviously transitioning into product development and eventually obviously fine tuning. And it took me 3.5 years to come to my signature program, which you guys would know is Ultimate 48-Hour Author. So I hear and I am around small business owners, yes, many of them, 80% of them in the early stages of their businesses, so 1 to 3 years. And then I meet people who are established and already doing well, and they could have been around for 10, 15, 20 years. But the majority, I would say, are in their 1 to 3 years of business or starting something fresh. And these are the common mistakes and excuses that I come across that I wanted to share with you guys this morning. So let's start off with number one. And this one is, you know, how the saying goes, if I had $1 for every person that told me this particular and gave me this statement when I was talking to them and they wanted to get their business off the ground, I would probably be a multi-millionaire by now. So the first one is, I just need more clarity, Nat. I just need more clarity before I take action. I just need more clarity before I write my book. I just need more clarity before I do anything, to progress in my business. So often, people think that clarity comes because some idea is going to magically appear into your mind, and all of a sudden you'll know, this is what I stand for, and this is what I'm going to be, and this is going to be my thing forever. And unfortunately, it's not that way. Clarity is a beautiful word, and certainly when you arrive at a point of clarity in your business that you go, this is exactly what I'm doing. So definitely after 8.5 years, I think I have got clarity around what we stand for, what we do. But I can tell you in the early days, and as I said, it took me 3.5 years to arrive at a point where I felt, I didn't even know that that was going to be the thing. Even if I say, okay, 3.5 years into my business, I arrived at my $1 million idea, which was the Ultimate 48-Hour Author. But even in the following 12 months of doing that and executing our first 3 or 4 retreats, I didn't know if that was going to be the thing that was going to be at it's not my forever thing, but of course now we've been doing it for 5 years. So really, realistically, I could say for 4.5, almost 5 years into the business, I was testing, measuring, taking action, working out the responses of people, and figuring out how I clearly and succinctly say what I do. So my biggest takeaway, if I can give you one little statement, is that clarity doesn't come from just sitting and thinking, right? We all should have thinking time and we should action some of our ideas, but clarity actually comes from action. It is only when you are taking action that you start to discover what is not for you and what is for you, and what sits really well and what gets a better response in the marketplace. And it is only when you are actually telling people, about your thing, that you start to gain yourself more clarity. One of the best things that I ever did in early days was to join BNI, Business Networking International, and I was with them for the first, I believe, 3 years it was, my stint with BNI. And I believe a lot of people who follow me still go to BNI and will continue to go. And the best thing about BNI networking was that we met every single week. And by meeting every single week and me having to further educate and clarify and speak out, externalize what I stood for, it is through the months and years of going there that I discovered and found my clarity. So thanks, Caroline. Yeah, so clarity comes from action. And if you can get out there, as I always have said, I'm an avid networker, or I host my own events now, and so I'm around people all of the time offline. Just by simply speaking about what I do and how I do it, I arrived at clarity and, oh, this is what people want more of me. This is what they're curious more about when I said this, you know, and you start to work out what are the little, you know, micro differences that are picked up in what you say from other people, and you're able to then determine whether there is a response or a non-response. Why I love also in the early days, you guys getting out there and being offline with people is because you can gauge people's reactions and people's you know, sort of responses and questions immediately. It's not like on social media, you type up your post, you put up your offer, and yes, you know, you can still gauge it whether there's a response or not a response, but you can't get that sense of, you know, is this a wow thing, or is it just like, oh yeah, kind of okay? You know, you can never sense that emotional reaction that someone has or to something that you say. And if you can do your stuff well offline, then of course that translates to you being able to deliver stuff online. So for example, I could have never done lives like this, you know, if I hadn't done a lot of speaking offline. Why? Because offline, you know, you're practicing, you're externalizing your repetition, you're getting people's responses, you're able to think on your feet, you're doing your stuff. Whereas right now, like why are a lot of people scared of video and doing live streams like this? Because perhaps they haven't spoken enough in front of people. They don't have the flow or what they stand for or how they speak, you know, refined as yet. And when you're here in front of a camera and you feel like you're just speaking to yourself, I mean, it requires a certain finesse of how you need to think and respond and look at other people's comments that are coming up on the screen and interact with them and all that kind of stuff. So it does require a few different skill set. But if you have been speaking offline, then speaking on video or doing live streams, it will be a lot easier. So the first mistake that small business owners make, or if I can just recap for you, is seeking for clarity while not taking action. Okay, so it's waiting to take action when the clarity arrives. And as I said, clarity comes from action. So you want to write that one down. Clarity comes from action. So it is only as you're taking action and you're externalizing what you stand for that you start to get clear yourself and gauge other people's responses to what it is that you're delivering. All right, let's go to mistake number 2 that small business owners make that keep them small or possibly ultimately imploding in their business. And that is the excuse that when I get a few clients, then I'll hire a mentor. Okay, when I get, you know, when I make X amount of sales, then I will be able to afford to have a mentor and a program. Well, how the hell are you going to get those clients if you have no idea what you're doing? And of course, if you're going to get a coach or mentor, I trust that you guys would hire someone that is walking the path that you want to be walking in the future, and someone that you want to be modeling. But I hear this all of the time. When I get this, I will do that. You know, sort of I'm making all the ducks line up, but in reality in life, the ducks never line up. When is the perfect time to do something? Well, the best time is right now. It was yesterday, actually, because the ducks never do line up, and the best time to do something is when you are not ready. Okay, when was the last time that your life shifted in a huge direction and you were super ready? Everything was crossed and dotted and all that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden you were ready to take that next investment or to do something extra for yourself. Often when we're starting out in business, it is when we need our most help. So if I have to rewind the clock back and look at all the investments that I have made over the years, that be a significant how to call it, we look at a curve or whatever it is. I invested most in my first 1 to 3 years when I was actually making the least amount of revenue and income for the business, and then that sort of averaged out at a certain level of what I invest every year in my personal development, education, mentors, systems, and help that I gain in the business. So you're not going to get more clients and then decide to, have then you're going to be ready to have a mentor. You know, the mentor comes first, and then following the rules, which leads me into another one of the mistakes, is then some people, okay, they realize, yep, no, I have to have this mentor, and yes, that's going to bring me the business and the clients and the help that I need. Awesome. But what happens is that not many people actually follow the mentor's advice and rules. So what I have seen a lot of times is people feel good about investing and having someone as their mentor and their coach, but are actually not following the system or the advice or the consultations that people get from them, consultations, the consulting advice that they receive. They kind of go, oh, that's great, I'm inspired, I'm motivated, and they go home and they revert back to old strategies, to old ways of doing stuff, and just absolutely just not following the recipe. And I always say, the types of people that I want to work with are decisive, are resourceful, and 100% coachable. So what happens is I've seen that people do not remain 100% coachable. They still go, oh, that's nice, that's great, now I'm just going to go and do it the way I think about it. My attitude to all of this was always to ensure that I did the homework that my mentor gave me first and foremost. And then if I had extra ideas or things that I wanted to implement that weren't given by him or her, that I would then go and do those extra things. So always my homework was done in the first 2 or 3 days post our session, because I go, if I'm going to put skin in the game, if I'm going to invest in this, I'm bloody hell going to follow the advice of what they have said. And certainly no mentor is ever going to be 100% accurate in terms of the advice that they give you. They ask for help, but they don't take the advice. Yes, Guy, that is true. And it happens all the time. It's like, I know better, right? So I've hired you, but I know better. But if you knew better, then you would be getting the results that you hired me to help you get, right? And often there can be a misconception around how much work someone needs to put into, so people often ask, well, what am I likely to get as my return on investment? Or, how quickly will things happen for me? These are a couple of, questions that people often ask of those that they hire. And I've asked them, of course, beforehand. There was a program that I was a part of last year. It was an 8-week online program. And I just, it's a common thing that you might ask. And then as I was asking it, because I was about to enter a national tour, and it's funny, it's never the perfect time. As I said just before, the best time to do something is when you're not ready. So last year, as I was embarking on a national tour of like a series of 10 events across 9 cities around Australia, I decided to invest $12,000 in an 8-week online program that was going to require my time. Hey, Lucy. And so it wasn't the perfect time. I didn't have the time or the spare hours. And so one of my questions was that, because of course I'm always, every mentor I've hired, I've gotten ROI, tenfold, not immediately. Sometimes I might just have gotten my investment back in sales, but then of course if I look back like a year or 2 later, I go, oh gosh, that strategy was amazing, and I think I've got like 10 to 20 fold back. So yeah, I went on this and I asked this particular question, like most of us, well, how long is it likely that I'll get a result or an outcome or all that sort of stuff? Well, they say it depends. How much time are you willing to invest to implement the strategies that we're teaching you? Those people who invest 5 to 10 hours a week, they might take them this long. Others do 20, 25 hours a week and they absolutely smash it out. And I said, yeah, of course, that makes sense. So what did I do? Well, every spare waking hour in between speaking to clients, doing my workshops, I literally, on the plane, I would be studying, I would get off, I would check into my hotel, I would get back to my webinars that I needed to watch and stuff to execute and implement. And I actually finished this 8-week course into 4 weeks. I had it all set up of what I was doing in 4 weeks, and I had gotten my ROI, like I think in 10 days. But it makes sense. So when you hire a mentor, follow the recipe. But secondly, if you're wondering when will you get a result, well, how much are you willing to work? How much time are you willing to invest? Often people go, oh, but I don't have the time to allocate this. I'm doing so many other things in my life. But how important is this? Because if you actually do this really, really, really well, and you are able to generate the sales and the revenue, then maybe all of those other things that are making you busy, you can actually outsource, right? You can outsource them to a virtual assistant. You can outsource if you need help around your home, all that kind of stuff. Maybe those things can be outsourced because then you'll do so well. So how do you prioritize? What is the most important thing that's going to create a result in your life that it's going to make you not have to do all of the other things that are just making you busy and that you hate doing, right? So following the recipe. If you do hire someone, do what they tell you, then do things outside of that if you want extracurricular activities. Hey Candy, nice to see you on the call as well. So please don't wait to get clients to get a mentor, because that's just completely the reverse way of the way you should be thinking about it. If you don't feel sick in your stomach hiring someone to work with you, then you know you're not in the right place. Every time I've had to hire someone or jump and take the leap into a high-end program or whatever, I was feeling sick in my stomach. And you know what that sick feeling is? It's actually not about the money. For me, it wasn't about the money, even though the money could have been and is always a valid excuse, right? It was actually, whenever I feel sick in my stomach, is because I know I'm about to embark on a period of intense work, intense action taking, that's going to disrupt my life. It's going to disrupt my time with my kids. It's going to disrupt my time around the business, because I'm fitting in an extra time-consuming strategy that I want to learn. It's going to disturb things for a certain period of time, but I know at the other end of this disruption, if you like, or investment, and having taken that action, the business will scale to the next level, because I'm damn straight going to follow the rules and execute that recipe that I have purchased of someone to learn. And therefore, you know, then it'll be the calm again, and until I'm ready to take another. So we go through life, you know, into bursts of taking action, bursts of, lots of intensity, and then some calmness, and then we again go through. So it's really, really normal to you know, go hard, and then, you know, plateau a little bit, go hard, plateau as you climb that mountain, because we all have to take a rest. We take a rest at the end of every day. Why wouldn't that happen in periods throughout your business? Okay, here's the next one. All right, well, this one was number 3. I have kind of did number 2 and number 4. Let me read this comment. Helen, you're spot on that. As a mentor, it's frustrating and disappointing to see clients not putting in the effort. It's fabulous to work with clients who take the action and get results beyond their expectations. Yeah, yeah, Helen. I mean, you know, I know every one of you who works with people, the ones that do follow everything you tell them, you go, it's a no-brainer. Like, they absolutely love it. They get the results. They're the easiest people to work with, and they know, and they have done the work on themselves to pick themselves up if there is excuses that pop up every now and again. But yeah, it's so rewarding helping people who want to help themselves, because ultimately the only person that you know can help you is you, and other people from the outside will be guides. I call my mentors my tweakers, right? They tweak what I do. They don't absolutely do it for me. You should never expect a mentor or a coach or a consultant to do the work for you and go, I'm working with you because I expect you know, for you to change my life. My whole livelihood depends on me getting a result from working with you. That's the worst thing to say to someone, you know, and to put that responsibility onto someone else, because ultimately it's up to you. They also ask great questions. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so my 3rd one instead of my 4th one. So the first one was waiting for clarity, the mistake, and we said clarity comes from action. The second one was I'll need to get more clients, then I'll hire a mentor, which is a completely opposite way. Hire a mentor, and then you'll get the strategy and what you need to do to skyrocket to clients rather than wasting months and years getting a business off the ground. The third one was not following the recipe. So you have been brave enough to take the leap into hiring a mentor, but then you don't do the work and you don't put in the effort and you don't follow what they tell you. So do the opposite of all of that because they're there and that you've hired them because they've got something you want, okay, a result that they're getting, you want that. So model them to the T if possible. And so I'm reverting back. This was my number 3, but I'm going back to number 3 now, and that is learning at a surface level. Okay, so there is a lot of people out there who think that if I watch a few YouTube videos, if I follow this person, you know, and I'm studying from them and I'm learning because because the best entrepreneurs, you know what they do? They do 95% of their stuff for low cost or free. You know, they give, they teach, but you know, collecting snippets of information here, there, even if it's from the same person week in, week out, month in, month out, and all that sort of stuff, you're still not getting a full systematic picture of what you should do for your own business. Okay, so often people go, I can get all this information, like there's so much free stuff on the internet, but you know, doing stuff for free is actually doing disservice to yourself, because half of the transformation occurs because you've made an investment and a commitment to someone, and the other half is because you've invested in a full end-to-end system, right? So when you're collecting bits and bobs of information here and there, you're not actually solving a problem properly from start to finish. So it's really, really important that you don't just, it's great to watch motivational videos, little strategies, little hacks that you can pick up here and there. But if you're truly, truly serious about getting your business off the ground and really doing something properly to monetize it, then invest in someone who is going to show you the whole system properly from step 1 through to step whatever, 10, 12, whatever that is. Otherwise, you're just picking up snippets of information on this live stream, on this YouTube video, in that book, and it's just surface level. It's not really going deep, because when you go deep is really when you get what you need. Right? Yes, focus on transformation, not information. I love it. Oh, that's a good one, Kitty. I say, well, implementation leads to transformation, but I like your one, focus on transformation, not information. And yes, and the transformation occurs half because you've invested and you've got skin in the game. So you're like, you've got this thing that's like, you know, I don't want to let my family down. I don't want to just waste this. You know, none of us want to be flushing money down the toilet, as I say. So get a full immersion. You know, you don't have to do this. And in that, let me just do a secondary point to that. It's great to invest. It's great to go and work with someone fully. But another mistake I've seen people do is over-investing. So they'll hire this mentor and that program and this program at the same time, right? So they'll be invested in 3 or 4 things, which are certainly putting a financial strain maybe in their payment plans or whatever they're doing, but then they're getting advice from 4 different sources. And as we know, there's many different ways and different routes to reach a success or an outcome in business, right? And if you're getting a certain advice from person A, and then different advice from person B, because they've reached their success in a different way, everyone's going to teach it to you in a different way, right? So over-investing leads to confusion, right? So what I've always done is I've done one thing, a program. I have completed that program, worked on, you know, getting my results and really, really getting good at the skills and the strategy that I learned from that program or mentor. And then I'll go, okay, next one. And then I might have a little gap of nothing, you know, of a few months, then I do the next one, and so on. And so, so it's never been stacking them on top of each other and making myself fully stressed out because I'm, you know, listening to different people, but also stressing myself out financially. yeah, Vanetta, it doesn't work. It's conflict. And sometimes, you know, people go, well, you know, can you recommend someone to me, and all this kind of stuff, or I hear, and I've tried this and I've tried that and I've done this and I've invested so much now, they're like $80,000 to $100,000 in programs and people and strategies and all that, and I'm just getting nowhere. And I go, well, have you, or were you just sort of caught up in the shiny object syndrome, and you actually didn't dissect and learn? You know, there's so much in my Ultimate 48-Hour Author program. There is so much golden information within that program beyond just the retreat and people writing their book. So in the back end of my, when people finish retreat, they receive this amazing Dropbox with so many resources, with over 200 hours of footage of training on, you know, improving how to speak for profit, sales mastery, like all these strategies that you need to do once you have your book, right? And there's so little of my clients that actually immerse themselves into the library of those resources, which is absolute gold. Like, you could be paying, you know, thousands of more extra money to go and learn this information. And I don't know if Amy's still on the call. I saw her before, but I always said, Amy, you're the one person that absolutely digested and dissected and continues to get access, like, you know, watching those videos. And Gerda, you're the one, you've just given me the love heart. You're one that actually also, I think you said you went through the Bums on Seats online course like 4 times, you know, and you really, you know, went through all the recordings and stuff like that. And I love when people do that, because the enormity is not just around, hey, I'm going to go and do this retreat and get this book done, but the extra mile that you go and actually immerse yourself in the other additional resources that I have built, recorded, uploaded, have available for you. Hey, go and, you know, watch them. Why do you need another thing and another thing and another thing? Unless it's a completely new strategies that you need to implement. So I love, you know, when people actually do fully engage and receive and consume the content that has been given to them. Sometimes they do, even if they hire someone at a high end, so what we were talking about before, learning at surface level versus going deep just from free stuff. But sometimes people go into the deep stuff on the system, and then they learn at a surface level, right? So they don't actually learn the depth or everything that they receive. So there could be both ways, trying to just do it for free and doing it at a surface level, or investing and then learning at a surface level. That's an extra one that I just thought of there on the spot, which is true, right? It is gold. I went through Bums on Seats 4 times. There you go. Like, someone to watch through an online course 4 times over. I mean, because you only learn 10 to 15%. The first time you retain 10 to 15% of the information. When it's an online course, you guys, you most likely need to do it. And I did the same thing, Gerda. I think I went through 3 times through that online course that I did last year, because the intricate details that this expert is teaching you are not common sense or knowledge to you as yet, unless you have that repetition and then you back it up with action with what you're learning. All right, I know I'm going a bit over time, but I'll cover off the last one. I'm not in a super rush. Then it's coffee o'clock. Okay, so I'm just, I do have some notes here right in front of me. I had to remember, so I just know exactly which ones I'm covering off. All right, so not getting enough no's, or getting lots and not changing. That's my last one. So not getting enough no's. So people, what I've seen, and this is what I noticed when I hosted a sales mastery mastermind at my home last year, last year was Sales Mastery. You know, what happened was, you know, with some people I noticed that didn't give themselves enough, well, first of all, no call to action, which leads to not having the opportunity to get enough no's, and then not testing and measuring if you are getting the no's and nothing is changing. Why not change what you're doing? You know, why not have the flexibility to change it if it's not working? Okay, thanks for that reminder, Nat. I will dive into all the gold in the Dropbox. There you go, Kitty. All the bonus film footage and links that I have there for you guys. I mean, it's just, you know, but don't just sit there. And one thing I'm going to say, I know some of my authors are going to watch this, is don't go in those 200 hours of film footage and just spend the next 5-6 weeks just learning off me, because you ain't gonna remember anything. I suggest do 2 or 3 hours and then go and put it into action, into the real world. Work out, what's working, what's not working. Did I do this right? And then go back to some a little bit more study, and then putting it back into the into action, into the real world. So really, really important. So give yourself the opportunity to get rejected, right? Give yourself the opportunity to get rejected and get all of those no's, because we know every no gets you to a yes. I'm not gonna, don't need to say that and teach you that that's how it works. But give yourself the opportunity to get the no's, because then you're going to arrive at more clarity. Then you're going to know, am I on the right track, or do I need to have the behavioral flexibility to change what I'm doing and maybe change up my offering and what I call it and how I introduce myself and what it is that I do. And the best way to do that, as I said, if you can get out there and have the opportunity to talk in front of people and give you a little pitch and spiel, you will start to gauge from their reactions whether you're in a wow factor thing, or it's kind of like crickets and everyone's being distracted while you're talking. Really, really watch people's energy. I often say this at my retreat at the beginning. We flash up the mock-up covers on the PowerPoint presentation, and I say to the authors, now, your job when your mock-up cover flashes up is to notice what everyone else is doing in the room. Are they like going, wow, we love that? You can hear the whole room go, wow, oh my God, that's awesome. Or there's just this kind of silence, and people they're not listening, but it's kind of like a little bit of a confused silence. And if that's the confusion, then what is it that we need to change, refine? Is it the tagline, the title, or they're not getting it, and all that sort of stuff, or the look? Okay, so then I go, just watch everyone's energy and how they're responding. It's mostly that's where it's in the non-verbal communication that you'll probably get more your answer, whether you're spot on or not. Helen, I'm looking forward to watching the recordings from Lead Explosion. There you go. That's up. Watch and study, implement and take action. Thanks for a reminder to get into Dropbox. There you go, Tara. I knew there's going to be quite a few more authors and many watching the recording. So there you go. That's your reminder, you guys. I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. So that's my insights for you today, from watching, observing, speaking to small business owners, mentoring them, coaching them, understanding the inside world of what makes them tick, and what motivates them and what demotivates them, and how sometimes they can get discouraged and absolutely quit, which is not what I want any of you guys who've been listening to this live to do. Thank you for all the love that you've been sending me. I've been watching all of that, but when I get into the zone of speaking, you can't shut me up. And yeah, guys, so go out and smash out an amazing week. Wake up call, get on feedback, go to Dropbox. See, Lucienne, you've been out from your retreat nearly 3 years now, and there's so much gold. I know you haven't been able to make it to the masterclasses lately, but it's all in there. It's still filmed. It's all available to you 3 years on. And you guys know, those of you that work with me at the highest level, which is through the retreat program, you get lifetime access to what we do. So don't think it's free. You're already invested in it, and there is so much information and depth of strategy that you can go in and access there. I don't quit, never. I know you don't quit. All right, gorgeous people, I'm going to go make that coffee. Then I've got a session with one of my Perth people. We had an amazing tour last week. It started off messy and kind of all over the place, but we ended up welcoming 7 new authors into our family. I'll be introducing them to secret groups today. I just always kind of now wait for a group to just go in, and rather than doing lots of individuals. Very happy with that outcome. And then New South Wales is after our group book launch on the 7th of September. Make sure 7th of September at the Pancake Parlour in Doncaster, we're going to be launching 10 more new authors. And then it's New South Wales after that for a week there. Wollongong. Alicia, if you're around, how are you there? And then off to Queensland. And I'm going to be away from Melbourne for 5 whole weeks for a mixture of business and pleasure. So lots going on. We are in an intense, crazy action period. I love it. And then it's going to be chill out and recharge. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and smash it out. Bye.